So loud. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Wholesaling the Cool Way with Jasper Cool, and I'm Mark Cool, and we are here to talk about real estate investing. And we're both doing wholesaling primarily with some other creative strategies mixed in there. And we've both done over 100 deals. I don't know how many we've each done, but just want to share our journey and hopefully help other people to succeed in real estate investing. And yeah, I think that's it. Anything else to add to that, Jasper?
No,
The basics. But yeah, we're happy to be here on a Sunday. And normally we kick off our conversation with just stuff we've been learning from over the week or inspired by, which could be podcasts or books or anything else. So do you have stuff in that realm this week, Jasper, that you want to share?
well, yeah, definitely. Um, this week we had a call with Pace Morby in our coaching group, and that was really
Oh,
cool.
nice. Yeah.
Um, yeah, and it was really cool because I got to see more of a different side of him, and I've never really interacted with him one on one, and only seen the stuff that's on social media that's for the masses, and
Yeah.
so it was really refreshing to actually have not a one on one but a more intimate setting with him, and he's just a completely different person than what you see online in a good way. He's just way more down to earth, just like super chill guy, really helpful. And I love the call. It was amazing. And so I took a lot away from it, but I have a couple pages of notes, but it was just really inspiring, first of all, to hear all the things that he's doing. He's got sub two, obviously, is his main engine for growth. And one of the things that he shared, which is really helpful for me, is just people have been doing sub two in real estate and all this stuff for hundreds of years. None of this stuff is new. But what he did is he coined a new term, which is sub two, which is sub and then the number two, right? So he kind of coined that term. And subject to real estate, has been around for years, but he kind of coined the sub two, and then he put it on a hat and made a logo and all this stuff. And so that's what he suggested. He was like, you might be doing wholesaling or like multifamily or whatever, but instead of being like the creative finance coach or something, or this or that, it's like create your own word, create your own verb, or create your own phrase or whatever, and then go off of that. And that will really
Yeah.
help you. That will really help you from a marketing perspective, obviously, and just making you look like an authority in the space. And he shared an example where one of his students was asking him about, like, they wanted to start a small multifamily like coaching group specifically on that niche. Like, I want to focus on, anywhere from 4 to 8 units, multifamily, and help people do deals in that space. And he was like trying to become the small multifamily guy. And Pace was like, well, how about you create a new term like microfamily, for example? Like, and he's worked on this for years, so it just comes to him. But I was like, that's a great name. Like, that's a great, and if I thought of it, I'd be like, what's that? Even though it's the same thing that hundreds of other people are coaching, but it's like, what's
Yeah.
that? And so that was one big takeaway
Smart. Yeah.
yeah, that was one big takeaway I took from that. Um, and just how, like, he just really wants to help people. And I noticed that sometimes online it doesn't come across that way. Like, it comes across like he's just another guru. But actually being in the call with him, it seems like he definitely really wants to help people. And that was inspiring for me. And then not only that, but it's like after the call, like, I text him and he texts me right back. And I was just so surprised by that. They're just like, here's a guy who probably gets thousands and thousands of messages a day, just from text. He probably gets tens of thousands of DMs and stuff on a weekly basis, and he texted
Yeah.
back within 5 minutes. And I was like, wow, like, I was just blown away by that, and so I thought that was really cool. But a lot of takeaways from it, and just one of the ones, just obviously to think bigger. He shared that he's in touch with a lot of really big names, and he shared that a conversation he had with Grant Cardone, where Grant shared a really cool statistic with him, that he raised, I think, $1.3 billion from people who have never interacted with Grant in terms of buying any of his courses or products or anything like that. So these are people that are not like in Grant's like web or whatever you want to say, but they
Yeah.
still gave him $1.3 billion combined. And that's just because of his like online presence and all this stuff. And so he went deep into that, but he just basically said that, being on YouTube is absolutely the number one thing that you need to do
Yeah.
as a coach or an influencer or whatever you want to do. Being on YouTube is number one. And he shared that from his conversation with Grant, which Grant said the same thing. But he also shared that, with all this tracking and stuff that they can do now, they can track, like when someone clicks on their ad, they can track and see what they do after that, which I thought was super cool. But what he said is every single time someone engages with a piece of Pace's content, and especially when they engage with one of his ads to actually enroll in his course or community or whatever, the next thing they always do is they go to YouTube and they watch all of Pace's content. And then he said, typically, on average, it's anywhere from 3 to 5 days that they'll engage with his YouTube content before they come back to the ad and eventually sign up. But he's like, without that, he would get nobody. And so he's like, because there's so much BS going around these days, everyone's going to go and fact check immediately when they see an ad from you. They're going to be like, okay, is this a real person? Is he actually like doing the business and stuff? And so
Yeah.
that was another takeaway, which is obviously something we're both working on, but just being more on video and on YouTube specifically, so that people know that you're a real person. So there's a bunch of other takeaways, but I'll stop there. But it was a really good call. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, he's great. He's got so much knowledge, and yeah, I've had that experience of him too. That he really is a giver. He really does want to support other people to grow.
Yeah, definitely. It was inspiring for sure.
Yeah, it made me think of the Alex Hormozy thing too. When you're talking about the YouTube thing, is he's got the stats on all of his engagement and what people do, where they go, how much time they spend each time they engage with him. He's got like all that, you
Yeah,
know, and then you can use that information to improve your business and your marketing efforts. Pretty cool. That's
yeah,
all
very
available.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking in. Did you have anything else, or is that you're stopping there?
Yeah, I mean, I can go more into depth, but I know we got other stuff we want to touch on. So
Yeah. Well, that's awesome that you had that experience. He's, as you know, I studied a bunch of his stuff and was in his one of his groups for a little while, and got a lot of value. And you know, yeah, he's he's super knowledgeable about sub two, and he seems really passionate about helping people grow and learn. So very cool.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to check in about with inspiration and stuff. I'm still reading the same two books, even though I'm moving through them. I guess Buy Back Your Time is one of them that I've been checking in about the last couple episodes. I have it here, and just the one that you checked in about a few weeks ago, Jasper. Doesn't it doesn't hurt to repeat it about the styles of leadership, transformational leadership, transactional management is you tell people and then you check on them, and transformational leadership is you give them the outcome and then you're just measuring the outcome and then you coach them if they need support. So it's a
hmm
huge difference in leadership. And one of the things he was saying in this book, and I won't spend too much time on it, sure he checked in about this a few weeks ago, but like, if you tell somebody and then you check on them and you tell somebody and you check on them, it's an endless loop for you, and you're never going to be able to get anything else done because you're always checking up on people, and you're also not empowering people to be decision makers and to be creative. You're just telling them how to do something and what to do, and then checking on them. So it's just like you're not going to grow that way. But if you can tell somebody the outcome, they might surprise you with a different way of doing something than you had even thought of that might even be better, and then they're empowered to grow themselves and develop more skills and abilities, and that's brings value to your business too, and
hmm
it's for a happier team member, and it gives you as a leader more time to do the things you want to do rather than telling people how to do things or what to do and following up and making sure they did them. So that's the chapter I most recently read. That was really good, and yeah, I guess I'll just stick with that. I don't have a lot else right now. I've been watching Jasper, I think you watched this documentary, but um we've been watching the Sprinters on Netflix.
yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So that's super inspiring. My girlfriend was here this weekend, and that's like our, if we're eating in front of the TV, that's what we're watching right now is the sprint. Is it called Sprint?
Yeah.
Yeah, on Netflix, and it's just like all the world-class sprinters and, what they're going through and, setting records and the fastest people in the world and the psychology of it and, what they have to put into it as far as training physically, but also the mental preparation and the mindset that it requires to win when everybody is separated by hundreds or even thousands of a second, in terms of breaking records or winning races.
Yeah.
So really cool stuff. I highly recommend that. It's in the same vein as quarterbacks if you've watched that one on Netflix, but it's pretty awesome the way they profile these people and get inside their world. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I've been inspired by that over the last couple of weeks because we've been watching that on the weekends. But yeah, that's all I've got for now for that category. Let's
Awesome.
let's roll into business check-in. So we'll check in about what's going on in our businesses for the week and any like KPIs we usually check in on, and then also if we have tools or things that we've discovered or that might be helpful, and then any challenges or opportunities for growth, stuff like that. Gains and victories, of course, is the flip side of that. So I'll let you check in on yours, Jasper, and then I'll follow up and check in on mine.
All right, let's do it. So I guess I'll just start with the numbers for this week for us. So we got one new contract this week, which is awesome. That was from an online lead source, which is exciting for me because that was our first contract from this exact online lead source, which is a pay-per-lead company. And so this lead actually came into our system in June. And, typically
Yeah, I was
people,
gonna say you stopped using them, right?
yeah. So, typically people online, they say that the online companies, the leads are much hotter and stuff. And I found it to be true in some cases. Overall, our cash conversion cycle was much shorter, but this one ended up taking whatever that is, 4 or 5 months to go under contract. And we obviously kept in touch with him throughout, but we finally got him this week. So that was awesome. And then just our other KPI numbers for this week. So one contract, we got 2 new 5-star reviews, which is awesome. And
Awesome.
I keep track of that in my KPIs. And then we got one closed deal and sold 2 deals. So it was a good week for us overall.
Sweet.
Yeah. And I guess I can just go into a little bit of stories about the deals and stuff, and then I'll touch on challenges. So first, the closing this week was a huge win for me because I touched on this on our last podcast, but if no one's heard about that one, basically I had a referral lead come in and it was about 3 weeks from start to finish. And referral leads are always really nice because they're very easy to close. And really you don't have to close them. They almost accept any offer that you give them, which is very nice. But in this scenario, this is referred to us. This lady had recently separated with her husband, and basically they were just selling the house and kind of going their separate ways. And so we went under contract with her, and then we had to we struggled a little bit with getting in contact with her ex-husband because he was kind of not the happiest camper, but eventually we got in contact with him and built a pretty good relationship with him, and he agreed to sign all the docs and everything. Because we didn't have his signature on the initial agreement, and I only went through with it because it was a referral lead. So we got some help from the person who referred us, as well as the wife that we were working with. And so we were able to get him to sign, and he signed off on him receiving nothing, and she got all the proceeds, which was nice. And you have to, in North Carolina, both spouses have to sign on any real estate transaction. So for that to actually happen, you have to have them specifically sign that states this person's name will receive 0 and this person will receive whatever amount.
Ouch.
And so yeah, I mean, I guess it is an ouch, but maybe they had some other arrangement or whatever. So thankfully he was willing to cooperate, and we were able to get the deal closed and on time. So it was a pretty smooth closing. And then I gave the lady a referral fee like we discussed on our last podcast, and she was super excited about it. So that felt good. And
How did you
this
figure that out?
specific, what's that?
Did you like you were wondering what to pay her? Did you figure out a good one that felt right?
Yeah, I ended up giving her 1,000, and she actually asked me about it a couple of days before closing. And I told her, I was like, well, I was thinking about giving you 1,000, and she was super happy about it. And so I was like, oh, well, I guess that's the right amount, because
Oh, nice.
if she was like not happy about it, I would have like increased it without telling her. I would have like
Yeah.
gave her more without, but she was super excited. So I was like, win-win.
Yeah.
So that's nice. And this specific person already referred us another deal that we're working on, but this person still needs time to find another house. But I think we'll be able to close that eventually. And she's working on another one that she said that we might be able to buy as well. So hopefully this will turn into a a source of deals for us, and we can both make money together over the next year or multiple years. That'd be great. Um, so
Yeah. She could make an extra $1,000 a month or so. It's probably good for her, right?
yeah, so that'd be awesome. Hopefully we can do more deals together. But that one was great. Like I said, smooth closing. We sold it to a direct buyer, so we didn't have to work with New Western or anything like that, which is nice. And this is a buyer that we worked with before, and he's a cash buyer and stuff, so that always makes it easier when you're not dealing with the lenders and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was great. There's no complaints on that deal. And then we another win that I wanted to share is easy texting. I mentioned it before, but we started with ClickSend, and then we switched to easy texting pretty soon after because I didn't really like ClickSend. But with ClickSend, I noticed the power of texting, and so we switched to easy texting. And I will say, if you're just getting started, maybe don't do this because it's definitely costly as compared to email marketing. Email marketing is free. So it's definitely costly, but the response and everything has just been off the charts for us. And it's just completely transformed my dispo department, just from switching to doing texting. And so we're getting probably like, I've shared the numbers before, but we're probably getting at minimum 50 replies, like interested replies. And on
That's
a
great.
on a better deal, we're getting upwards of 100. And these are interested replies, like not people that are saying they're not interested, but people that are like, yes, send me the pictures, like, yes, I'm interested.
Man,
And
how
so
big's your mailing list?
what's that?
How big is the list of people you're sending to? Like,
I could check. I think it's around 2000.
okay. So you're getting, so 100 would be what, 5%, and 50 would be
Yeah, you're
what?
probably you're probably better at the quick math than me, but I could try. But
Well, if 100 is 5%, then 50 is 2.5%, right? Or
yeah,
no, that's not even right. Yeah. No, 10% of 2,000 would be 200. So 5% would be 100. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So 2.5 to 5% of interested buyers. That's great.
Yeah. So I guess it is kind of low when you look at it like that, but I'm just comparing it to the
It's
email.
not low though, because some of the people on your list are not looking in those areas probably. So
Yeah.
when you
Yeah,
figure that
that's
out,
true. Yeah, and so overall it's been a game changer for us. We've definitely increased our offers on every deal. Like we're getting I don't know, our target is to always get three offers on a deal. And at some point earlier this year, that was a challenge. Like it was almost like pulling teeth to get three offers. And now we're getting five offers in the first day
that's
at
great.
least. And obviously, some of these offers are lowball, but we're still getting at least feedback so that we can know, okay, do we need to reduce, like where are these offers coming in at? And we're getting almost instant feedback, like I said, which is invaluable for us because especially if you do need a price reduction, it's much better to do that quickly rather than let the seller wait weeks or sometimes multiple months. And then you go back to them like,
Wait,
oh,
the
by
better
the
they
way,
are.
like we need 10, 20,000 off. And they're most likely going to say no. But if you can get back to them within a week or less, say, hey, we got the feedback. This is wrong with the house. This is going on. Can we get this price reduction? They're much more likely to accept it. So it's just been a game changer for us. And I will share the cost. It's about $25 to send out a blast each time, I would say. And so that can get expensive if you're obviously sending out like 10 deals a month, it's $250. But I think it is worth it. And we're noticing that we're getting new people that we've never conversed with before because some people on our list in Podio or in our cash buyers app in Podio, we never had their email. And so these people are just basically getting ignored. Like obviously we try to call through our buyers, but we're not reaching everybody. And so
Yeah.
this way we're reaching all the people that either don't like to email or we don't even have their email. So now we're conversing with new buyers that we've never even talked to before, but they've been on our list for years. And so it's like total fail on my part. But
Yeah.
now we're capturing those
Now
people.
you're able to aggregate a sheet of the buyers from Podio and send that blast to them.
Yeah. And so it's been super exciting for us. And these two deals that we sold this week, we actually sold to the same buyer and someone I've never talked to before. And he's a super awesome buyer. He's flipped like hundreds of homes. He's got all these different LLCs. He was sending me like all the stuff. and it's super cool. And he's another home investors guy, which typically, people like Adam and Kirk is another good one. Like typically, these home investor guys are really good buyers and nice guys. And so he's another home investors franchisee guy, super legit buyer. And like I said, we sold two properties to the same buyer, which is nice too.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have done that without the texting thing. So that's super exciting for me. But yeah, and then also one other thing I set up this week, which was very easy to set up on their platform, is like um, they can text the word deals to our specific number and it signs them up. So it makes us look like a big company. Like when companies tell you like text this and like you get this.
Yeah.
So now like I just have that in our emails where it's like, hey, by the way, we have a text list now. If you want to be added to it, just text the word deals to this number. And we got like 20 new people just joined this week just from that. So that's exciting too. So yeah, for me, it's well worth the cost. There's a monthly cost as well. So the 250 I mentioned, that's just for sending the blast out. And then I think there's another like $200 a month just to be on the software.
So 250 or 25?
Well, I was saying 250 in total. It costs us about 25 bucks to send out a blast, but we're sending out on average like 10 a month. So it's like 250.
Yeah.
But I think the platform that we're on or the plan that we're on is also 250. So I think it's 500 a month. So like I said, if you're just getting started, it might be out of your budget and you can definitely have success with email. But also if you have less buyers, it'll be much cheaper. Because like I said, I'm sending to, I think 2,500 people. So if you have less buyers, it'll be much cheaper. But
And this is called Easy Text that you're using?
yeah, easy texting.
Yeah.
With the word easy instead of the word easy.
Yeah.
Easy. Yeah. So if anyone wants to check them out, I'm not affiliated, but I had good results so far. And also you get like a customer rep or whatever assigned to your account. And I had like a Zoom call with her and she showed me the platform. She's super nice. So they help you out getting set up and stuff too, which is cool. But yeah, so that's been a win for us. And then I mentioned the 5-star reviews, which is awesome. Almost to my goal for the year. We only have 1 month left, but we'll see. See if we can do it.
You're almost to your revenue goal?
No, to my
Oh, no,
review goal.
your reviews goal. Sorry.
Yeah, I wanted 50 and we're at 43. So I
That's
think it
great.
I think it's a slim chance, but at least we made a strong effort. We're almost there.
Yeah, well, setting that goal helped you make a lot of progress because, yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't set that goal with my team, and we're getting them, but we're not getting them at the rate you're getting them at. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and I will say the last 3 deals we closed, we're 3 for 3, so that's exciting. We're on a 3 in a row streak where these people left us a review on the last 3 deals. So I think it's helping because previously it was just our acquisition team who was reaching out because they were the ones kind of building that relationship. And so they would reach out directly for a review. And then we made this change, prior to these last 3 deals. So maybe that's what helped. But we made a change to where acquisition reaches out, they reach out with a phone call, just a thank you call after we close the deal. And then, during that call, they're like, hey, by the way, really help us out if you leave us a review. And then if they say yes, which most people do, then we'll send them a text and an email follow up. So acquisitions will send them a text with a link and an email with a link immediately after that call. And then now we're also having after that later that day, if they don't leave it, then Josh, who's handling transactions, he'll give them a call as well. Same thing, just thanking them from his perspective, and same thing, he'll text them and email them. And then our third plan of attack, not attack, but our third plan is that we have them in a drip sequence, and that messages them 2 days later, because sometimes when you have a closing, they might not receive their wire transfer till the next business day. And so we want to
You
kind
don't
of,
really want to ask for reviews until they have their money.
yeah. And so we hit them 2 business days later, and just with the automated email and text, it's like, hey, by the way, I hope you got your funds and everything. If you did forget, we'd love a 5-star review from you, and just includes the link again. And so we've noticed that a couple of people have taken action, a week later, which is why we got 2 this week, because we had a closing about 10 days ago or whatever, and he left a review this week. So I think it was from that SMS drip or whatever. So just wanted to share that for anyone in case that would help you get more reviews.
Yeah, it helps to build trust in your business. It goes back to the point you were making earlier, Jasper, of like, people are going to check up on you these days. They're
Yeah.
going to be like, what's your company name? And then they're going to go Google you. And if you have nothing on Google, then they're going to be more suspicious. If you have a website and you have 5-star reviews and you have other things, then they're going to be more trusting. So it's more and more important because more and more people are doing that in this age. Like it used to be maybe not so much, but now everybody checks up on you. So
Yeah,
uh,
definitely.
that's why it's important to develop that. And if you have people who are happy with with the transaction they had with you, then get them to give you a review. It only
Yeah.
takes.
And while we're on this topic, actually, that's another thing that you just brought up. We both have these maps, that we made of our deal closings. And that's another thing you can add if maybe you're newer and you don't have as many reviews. You can just do a map of all the deals that you've closed, and that will help you show credibility too. And one cool thing is that on Google, I think it's just from your perspective as the owner, but you can go on your map and you can see how many people viewed it. And for us, we have 22,000 views on this map.
Wow, I've never
And
done that.
and we're only sending this to sellers. And so they must be passing it around or something, because I'm only sending this to sellers. Like, I've never posted this publicly anywhere. And so I just thought that was very interesting, because obviously we made this like 3 years ago. So that's over 3 years. It's not like all in one month, but 22,000 views is pretty insane, because we've not talked to anywhere near 22,000 sellers. And so this is being passed around for sure, and maybe helping us land more deals. So yeah, it's very easy to do. And now we just add, every time we close it, we just add the new address or whatever. So
We have it on our website, so I think people look at it, but I've never looked to see how many views, because buyers might be curious too. Buyers might look at it, right, and be
yeah,
like, "Hey, where? Oh wow, these guys are closing deals. Are they closing in my area?" But yeah, I'm gonna check mine and see how many people have looked at mine.
yeah, you should check it for sure. Yeah, because we have it on our website too, but it's like I don't get that many views on my website. So it's like I don't I wonder where all those views are coming from, but it's pretty cool to
Yeah,
see.
on the trust building thing, on our website, we put our team page, and we put a photo of everybody on the team with a little bio and their contact info. So we do that as another trust building thing where people can go and they can actually look at a photo of the person they're talking to or emailing with or texting with. And I think that helps with the trust building too.
Yeah, that's a great point too. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think that's mostly the victories I wanted to share. We do have two closings, hopefully closing next week before Thanksgiving, so that would be great. And then for my challenge, I did have one buyer totally back out on me when we were supposed to close next week. And so that was a bummer. Especially because he backed out after the sellers signed again. So that was a bit of a bummer. And now I'm really scrambling trying to find a new buyer for this property. But I think the lesson in there that I could share with people and for myself is just like over the years as a wholesaler, it's like I've evolved a little bit, but I've still taken on deals as a wholesale contract that I would never, ever, ever consider buying myself. And so I've heard this on podcasts and stuff, and I've started to make the shift. But I'm just realizing that when these situations arise, I'm not going to buy a one bedroom, one bath house in Fayetteville, North Carolina, in a horrible neighborhood that has fire damage and has all this stuff. Like, I'm just not going to do that. And so, on that same token, why would I expect a buyer to? And now there's plenty of buyers who have different buy box than me, and I see that every day. But I'm just thinking going forward to try to help these sellers out. If this situation were to happen and it was a three bedroom, two bath house in Raleigh or Durham or anywhere else, even in Fayetteville, and it's like in decent shape, and I would just step in and close on it, and I would have no problem doing that. And that way I can
Yeah.
still help the sellers out. But in this situation, it's like, well, I'm not going to buy it. And I feel bad saying that, but it's like, it's just not something that I'm going to buy. It's just a huge, huge rehab project that I don't have the knowledge or the crews to really handle. And so then I'm left
Yeah. And
this,
if it's a one bedroom, one bath, and you have to add bathrooms and bedrooms or,
yeah,
do an addition or try and find a very small percentile of people who want to buy a one bedroom, one bath.
yeah, yeah. And so, obviously we have a bunch of offers on it that are lower than where our contract price is. And, I feel horrible doing that to these sellers, but that's really the only option we have at this point. But, going forward, I definitely think I'm going to make a shift to just stop dealing with those houses. And usually I wouldn't, but in this case, these sellers actually came back to us, and like it was almost like an inbound type thing, because we had
Yeah.
followed up with them in the past, but they don't really fit our buy box anymore. So we stopped following up with them, but they reached back out to us, and it was my mistake to take on the contract. But before we even took on the contract, I had put feelers out and I had a buyer ready, and that's the only reason I did it. But sure enough, they backed out on me. So it's a bummer. But my fault for going outside of my buy box. That's where the issue came up. So that is a bummer. But I guess just wanted to share that for anybody. who's struggling putting together a buy box, and for myself, because I think I'm going to do that going forward.
We've been doing that too, just really tightening our standards around what we will and won't put under contract, which, if you're starting out, that sounds scary because it's like, well, am I going to find another person who's willing to sign with me? But you will if you do enough marketing. And that's the
Yeah,
thing. It's just like, don't take a deal just to take a deal, especially if it's, one really hard to sell or a really challenging person to work with in a seller or something like that, because it's going to take up all your energy. And if it's taking up a lot of your energy, you could have gotten 2 or 3 other deals in the time that you're dealing with that one property. So
that's
you have to
true.
have an abundance mindset around deals and know that there are always more deals, always more people going to sell, and you don't have to take on bad properties or get into bed with people who are going to be really difficult to work with.
Yeah,
And that's one of the things we're working on, just like continuing to reinforce in our company. It's like we get to have deals with people we like to work with, and we get to have a buy box as wholesalers.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, I think that's about it for me on the check-in. Just trying to find someone. I sent out another easy text blast yesterday for this deal. Trying to find someone, trying to find someone who might be able to close by Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
that's the other trick of a deal like that, right? Is like you might be able to find an individual buyer who would want that and is handy and
Yeah.
stuff. They're not going to close fast, or it's a lot harder to find those people because you got to beat the bushes to find an individual buyer who wants a house in a certain area with those criteria
Mm-hmm.
and who has the money to act on it too.
Yeah.
That's where owner financing comes in. Then you owner finance it.
Definitely.
That's a topic I could touch on, our owner finance stuff that's going on in our company.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. All right. Well, we can switch over to you. Thanks for the
Okay.
feedback and
Thanks.
listening.
There's some good stuff in there to talk about and dig into. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Topics, and the texting thing is good. I would piggyback on the texting thing too. With I think I've mentioned this previously when we've had this conversation, but we're using a texting platform that we already have an account with to do blasts to buyers. So if you already have a Smarter Contact or Launch Control account, you might be able to do it as a campaign within that account and save yourself money if you're on a tight budget and you're starting out or whatever, uh, and you already have a texting account with another platform, you might be able to do that. Like we're doing we just have a sub account with one of our dispositions guys, and he goes in there and just sets up a campaign and sends a text blast to buyers in an area, you know. So you can do it that way. As if you're trying to, Jasper mentioned the cost of $25 per blast, but then again, like you said, Jasper, that's for a big list. So if you're only blasting 100 or 200 people, it's probably way less. And then you've got a monthly subscription, which is 250, which could be daunting if you're starting out. But if you've
Yeah.
already taken the plunge and gone, okay, I'm going to get the entry level launch control, you might be able to just do a campaign in launch control and blast a bunch of buyers using an account you're already paying for. So, and
Yeah.
there are other texting services that you can use. I mean, we used one called Simply Text, I think, and it's not as good as Easy Text from what I've heard from you, Jasper. I haven't used Easy Text, but I think Simply Text, we were paying as we go a little bit with a base price that was much lower than what you're paying on that, but they didn't have all the features, and some of the responses we were having difficulty like matching them to the campaign, stuff like that. So I'm not, I don't need to diss them. All I'm saying is that there are lower priced texting interfaces you can use too, so you can look around. And if you're not quite ready to spend the 250 a month on easy texting, you might be able to find another service that can plug the gap, especially if you're doing smaller numbers of blasting to start off as you're building your buyer list.
Yeah. Good point.
Um, but yeah, I'll do my business check-in. As far as just the key KPIs, we closed one this week, so that's great. It was a land deal, and that one, I could tell. Well, I'll just go with the KPIs. I could tell stories later if we want to talk about stuff. But one closed deal on land, and that was a nice one because just for anybody who's thinking about doing land deals, we made 17,000 on a vacant piece of land. So
That's
it's
awesome.
totally doable, and we do it fairly often. Our minimum that we do now on a piece of land, we won't touch anything we can't make at least 8 on. but we do a number of them in the teens and 5 digits, quite a bit. I think our average deal is around 9,500 to 10 for land right now, something like that. Because we had a couple where we had a discount or whatever. But
Yeah.
anyway, just that was a sidebar. We did one closed. We got one 5-star review. You reminded me to check in about that. And it's always nice when people actually write something, because I don't know about you, but sometimes people will just give you 5 stars and it's like, oh, that's
Yeah.
nice. But you actually said something, and this person said something really nice. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like, this company is great. They were with us from start to finish every step of the way, and I recommend them, or something like that. If you get a review like that, that's great.
Yeah.
It's a testament to my team that they really were present for these people and just walked them through every step, and we're right there. So awesome on that. And then we got 2 contracts this week. And I've got a little bit of story about that. And other than that, I don't have our cold calling leads this week. We got 40 SMS leads this week. And then we got, I know our new in-house cold caller has been averaging like 2 per week. We've been trying to get her the right list, and we had a couple of recycled lists. So we expect her lead flow to go up, but I think she got about 10 this week, and we've been getting about 15 to 20 from our service. So I guess we're 40, 55, 60. We're probably 65 leads this week, ballpark. We sent out 34 offers, so that's great. That means we've got uh, contracts, offers to follow up on, and contracts to get. And so the machine is working. It's rolling ahead.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. And as far as the contracts, the stories behind these, interesting stuff. Well, one is not super interesting, but our new acquisitions guy got another contract this week, so that's great, because he's getting more comfortable and getting. I think that's his third contract now, and so that's good. And then we got one in Granville County, and this is a buyer that you probably know, Matt Zalecki, right?
Oh yeah.
Know
Yeah.
if I can drop Matt's name on here, but anyway, it's a buyer that we use, and they found out this cool thing that in one of these counties in North Carolina, the county is doing a pilot program for a new type of septic system that doesn't require all the digging and everything. And so he's jumping into this pilot program, and he asked us if we had any lots in this county that were unable to perk. And so we went back through our system, and we found canceled deals in this county, and we reached out to the sellers, and we got a contract like that.
Yeah.
Uh, we sold it to him. And so it's a new avenue. And it was just kind of fun that it's like, oh, cool. Now we could go back into this county and like find sellers that have deals, that vacant land that doesn't perk, and we can put them under contract and sell them to a buyer who's doing a
That's so
pilot.
cool.
So that
Yeah.
was kind of a fun little like niche thing, that we can, where we can make extra money. So we already just did a micro campaign over there, and then I talked to another buyer this week who's doing stuff we did another micro campaign like you do, Jasper, on the prop wire in another area.
Yeah.
But that's a sidebar. But I guess a point about that though is doing these micro campaigns. We've talked about this before, but it's like, if you find success in an area, don't keep going out to all the counties, especially if you're starting out and you have a low budget. Like, drill down on that area. That's what we're
Hmm.
more and more. If you have a buyer, and like I have a buyer, that I talked to this week, and he's like, yeah, we have 68 projects currently in the works, and I've got, you know, whatever he had, 270 lots, and I'm trying to get to 300 lots so I just can keep rolling. And he's like, here's the areas that I want. Like, that's then you just go into those areas, because this guy's just buying lots like a madman. And you don't,
Hmm.
again, I'm talking about vacant land, which is something we specialize in. But even if you've got a flipper client or buyer who's like, yeah, we're trying to flip, X number of projects this year, and this is the area we're working in, then you just go in there and you like pull all the data you can in that area. And because pretty much anything you get that's a good deal is going to sell. So
Hmm.
it's really, if you can, it's a testament to building a buyer list with good quality buyers. And I'd go back to talking about investor base with this too, because I think it's been a real shot in the arm for us with finding quality buyers. Right? Would you agree on that?
Yeah.
Because and this is, we're not affiliates or anything, but it's just something that came to us from Matt Larson, and it's like, those guys put together a platform where they've got just a really good way of tracking uh, professional buyers in areas. And so like get some buyers who are buying in volume and then cater to them, because then it saves you a lot of money on marketing and you can get deals and sell deals and build your business quicker. So that's kind of where we've been lately, is just like, well, who do we know who's really buying stuff right now and where are they buying? And let's just drill down there and really
Hmm.
do these micro campaigns in these areas and get these guys as many deals as we can,
Yeah.
especially as we're closing out the year. It's like, it's a way to sprint towards the end of the year too. Like, hey, we got these guys saying they need stuff. Let's just dive in there and get them as much stuff as they can get, because they'll close them
Yeah.
fast too, right? So as we're coming down we've got just a few weeks left really to get in any closings we can get in.
Yeah.
So I just want to throw that out there. And then as far as topics or challenges that I have, we had four scheduled to close this week, and we closed one. So the one is a victory, but we also had four scheduled to close this week. So in one of those weeks, right?
Yeah.
And one of them, the buyer fell out, and I used it as sort of a teaching moment for my acquisitions team. We all got on a call and we talked about why. I mean, not the buyer, sorry, the seller fell out. You said your buyer
Hmm.
fell out. That's still in my brain, but the seller fell out, and it was another one of these dramas with sellers that you run into with. This goes back to Alex Hormozy for me with sales, when he talked about sales when he was doing gyms, and how one of the things he would do is, are there any other decision makers that need to be consulted before you make this decision, or for you, in
Hmm.
order for you make this commitment, right? Because you want to get all the other decision makers out in the open, so you're not like going under contract and moving down towards closing, and then, oh, there's three more decision makers that I didn't know about. So like in this situation, um, we had a seller and his ex-wife, and they both signed the contract with us, and they're ready to sell. And we found judgments and stuff, which may be the deal killer. But not only that, I talked with my team about this, and then we got on the call with this guy, while we were on Zoom, and I talked to him, and this the ex-wife's sister doesn't now want to sell it, and she wants to keep it in the family, or she might want to do something there. And then the father of the ex-wife and the sister, blah blah blah, and this and that. And all of a sudden we find out there's three more people who have their fingers in the pie and are trying to influence what happens with this deal, when we thought we had the signers, on board and ready to go. And then we had other issues about people, who knows how much honesty is, like, one person said one thing and then the other person said the same thing about that person. So it's like a crazy
Hmm.
situation. But I guess one of the points is find out who the decision makers are. And I think Matt Larson says that too, is like, flush out the objections. Like, is there any reason you might cancel this deal? Can you see yourself canceling this for any reason? Is there anything else? Is there anything else? And you try and flesh that stuff out and address it. But also, I know Hormozy says this, and maybe Matt says it too, but like, are there any other decision makers that need to be consulted before you move forward with this, right? So that you don't run into that.
Yeah.
So that was one. And then we had another one that we're waiting on, like a will that needs to be pulled. And then I can't remember the delay on the fourth one, but yeah, we had four scheduled to close, and then we're down to, I think the other one has like some kind of HOA situation where the HOA is not cooperating or something, which, HOA, as long as we're dropping, tips and stuff, is like, if you're dealing with properties in an HOA, it's more work than properties not in an HOA,
Yeah.
just so you know,
Big
especially
time.
if it's land. And so we're even thinking about changing our buy box so that we just don't do vacant lots in HOAs, because
Yeah.
almost every time we get a vacant lot in an HOA, it's like a gate code and an access code, and the HOA wants you to do this or that, or they won't provide the information you need, or, it's just like one thing after another with HOA people. And I think for some of those too, it's just like people are retired or semi-retired, and the HOA is what they do. It's like they're the president of the HOA, so it's their
Hmm.
little kingdom or their little power, seat of power. And so they like to just run people through the ringer, and
Yeah.
it just becomes a hassle. So I would throw that out as like, think twice about getting properties in HOAs and dealing with them, because
Yeah.
also it's a hassle for buyers too, because then they have to jump through more hoops usually to do whatever they want to do with the property. Uh, and let's see what else I had down here. Quality of sellers, we already talked about. Um, Owner finance delinquencies, I don't know if I need to talk about that much, but you know, um, yeah, it's probably not relevant to most people, but we do owner finance deals. I'll just do a thumbnail of it. We do owner finance deals. We have had sort of a policy when we're doing vacant land deals of, if the person's down payment equals what we've paid for the property, we're not worrying about qualifying the buyer too much. It's like if we bought a property for 2,000 and we're selling it for 10,000, and this is a vacant lot, and the person can put 2,000 down and pay us $300, $400, $500 a month, we're good, right? Because if they default, we take the property back. We've already paid for the property, but it still runs into hassle. So now we have 4 people delinquent, and we've been working on following up with them. We sent them a FedEx with a notice of delinquency and a statement of accounts and all this stuff. And Derek was able to talk to my brother, who's a dispo manager and managing partner, talk to all of them this week, and one of them says he didn't have the delinquency and he has a bank statement. It was only one missed payment, and then the other ones are restructuring their payments and stuff. So that's all cool. But I guess the point of it is, even with that paradigm that we've had of like somebody's paying for the property with their down payment, you still want to qualify people more than we have. And do it if we're doing a house owner financing. We do, the full qualification and credit and background check and employment history, all that stuff. But when we're selling just a piece of vacant land that we bought for 2,000 or 3,000 or 4 or whatever, we're not always worrying about that. And maybe it's a good idea to just do a little bit more, even with that, because dealing with delinquency and then potentially foreclosing, all that costs money. It takes time and energy, etc. So what I'm learning now, as some of these are having issues, is like probably want to do a more strict qualification. I think we've done it too out of a scarcity mindset, and it just goes back to abundance versus scarcity mindset of like, man, we can't find any buyer for this, and here's somebody who says they can put 2,000 down and pay us $300 a month. Let's just do that. It's better than not selling it, right? So I guess on some level that's true, but it goes back to building a bigger buyer list, having more, getting more eyes on a property, and then having an abundance mindset of, do we really want to do this? When we're not sure about this buyer, or just making sure you qualify the buyers better. So, and then the last thing, I just wanted to piggyback on something you said earlier, where we call it stealth marketing in our business. But like, if you have a deal and you're not sure about the price, you can float it out to buyers of like, hey, we got this deal coming soon, right? And we're thinking about being in the ballpark of this price. What would you think? And sometimes it's a way to price check before you contract with a seller, and just go, like, hey, we got this coming soon. We're thinking about listing it, putting it out at 100,000. What would you think? And then you might get buyers coming back and be like, oh, I'd only be at 80 on that in that area, or I'd only be at 70, or you might get buyers being like, yeah, let me know when it's ready. I'd definitely be interested. So then it gives you more confidence going to your seller and locking it down. If this is especially true for us in instances where we don't have very good comps in the area, or it's an unusual property and we're having trouble comping it, we might go out to our buyer list and just be like, hey, this is we got this deal coming soon. We're going to list it around here. Let us know if you'd be interested, or, and then you can get some price feedback. So just wanted to mention that, because you kind of talked about doing something similar earlier in your check-in, Jasper.
Yeah, no, that's great.
And it's a method we use sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's all I've got for business. Hopefully, some of that stuff helps save some heartaches for people listening.
Yeah.
What else we got? Anything before we wrap it?
I think that's about it. See if I have any quotes or anything.
Yeah, we got to be prepared with the quotes in advance.
Yeah.
We used to always have them, and then lately we've been like, oh, I got so many books too with quotes in them.
Yeah,
Or
Tim
like,
had a good quote I could share real quick.
okay.
He says there's a saying that if you do what you love, you will never work a day in your life. At Apple, I learned that as a total crock of blank. You will work harder than you ever thought possible, but the tools will feel light in your hands. So I like that quote.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's going to be hard work, but at least you enjoy it and you wake up excited to do it every day. So there's a big difference there.
Feel light in your hands is a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I really like that one. That was from Tim Cook.
Makes me think of Khalil Gibran. He said, work is love made visible. It's like a tangible representation of you putting your heart into something.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, I guess that's a wrap. So thanks if you're listening. Please give us feedback in the comments and stuff. We really want to, bring topics and information that we can bring to help people grow and succeed in the real estate world, real estate investing world. And I think both of us are pretty much an open book. We're happy to share anything that we've learned along the way, um, and help people get a leg up, because this has changed both of our lives. We've both changed our financial fortunes by doing real estate investing. It's hard work, and it takes discipline and focus, and it's painful at times, but it's worth it if you can break out of your income bracket and do stuff for yourself and your family. And we want to support people to do that. So please let us know what you'd like to hear more about, or what your feedback is. If you like the format, if you'd like to see a different format, any of that stuff we're open to. We're just still figuring out how to do this podcasting thing ourselves. So uh, and Jasper's got been doing some more stuff on Facebook. So check him out over there. You can find us both on Facebook by our names, Mark Cool, Jasper Cool. We got this podcast on YouTube right now. I've got some shorts and other videos on YouTube. I've got some stuff on TikTok. And yeah, we're happy to help whenever we can.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Until next week, have a great week.